It's Joey Reynolds on the Reynolds Rap. I do this every day. I do this for a living. Can you imagine? We've had to learn a new language. I mean, all of a sudden we have variance, Devado. I thought it was the name of a group, and it's actually some medication that you take. We got to learn all these new words. They started with Travago and what's another one? There was another one of these things that I couldn't figure out what it meant until we got farther on down the food chain. Pretty amazing how we've had to learn shit show. That's the one, which also describes my career. But you know, we have different words now. Variance. I love the word variance. You know, it makes the disease sound like it's romantic. You know, and speaking of romance, you know, it's just one of those things where life has not been any different. Since I was a disc jockey years ago, we learned that the music was all we had. And it was all we needed because the music meant romance. The music gave us our lives before we realized that women marry for security and men marry for sex. We didn't have that figured out yet. But in songs, you know, we sang all of these wonderful tunes. Everybody had a song in their hearts. And we were more innocent acting, at least. Maybe we weren't innocent, you know, just tickling someone with a feather for sex. That was a very, very wonderful, lovely thing. Using the whole chicken is kinky, but we didn't do that, you know. I mean, I come from a generation that didn't force anything except. Is that the bird? I mean, is it? She's coming up. How many times do I have to tell you I work alone? You know, I mean, this is a different kind of a world that we live in now with everything that you could think of. We're supposed to get together with the family, but no strangers. Except most of our family is strangers. We've kept it that way, so we don't. Well, you know, you're never going to ask a stranger for a handout. And we kind of like have the idea that people are going to come to us when they're older, and they're going to thank us for all we've done for them. When the children get married and they have the grandchildren and they come to you and say, "Thank you, Dad, you did such a great job." What really happens is they come over and they want to live with you. That's they're not grateful about anything. They're there for another serving of that wonderful handout called life. I think something is going to change right now, pretty quick. People are not going to have the same privileges with the old people because we're dying. Except we have reverse mortgage. You know, we got to leave people something, and people are very happy to have that. My daughter yesterday called me from California. She said, "Dad, I watched your video. It's a history lesson." I'm not trying to teach history. I'm trying to teach math. You know, listen, it's all about money. Everything's about money. Why would you have a pandemic and the whole world is upside down and they raise the prices? I went to get a discount on the Amtrak yesterday because the kids have COVID and we're not able to take the trip, but they don't want to give you a refund. They want to charge you to change your train schedule. And I said, wait a minute, you're going to charge me to cancel something, or do you want to put the kids on the train with the COVID? You know, see, we don't really know how to handle certain things. We haven't mastered it yet. We haven't really figured out how we're going to handle this whole problem with the virus that won't go away, or the flu that we should never have had. What are we calling this thing that we have? All I know is we're wearing a mask. I wore a mask and tried to rob a bank, and they told me to take the mask off. That's the only way you. What? The bird's still on me? Yeah, she just spoke. She left me a couple of drippings. Thank you very much. Now we have a society that's learning and changing right now, and we're gonna not have the Times Square gathering like we do every year on New Year's Eve because the ball already dropped. We dropped the ball a long time ago in this country. But I'm not speaking of politics. I'm speaking of how I am older. And when you're older, people start to avoid you. They're afraid that you're going to want something from them, like a job. You know, the thing you get when you're older is a lot of help from people, though. You know, if you're going to change a tire, you have a flat tire. But someone actually offered me an apartment with a fourth-story walk-up. I guess they don't want me to live that much longer, because how can I'm going to live in an apartment with a 4-story walk-up. That just won't be good for my walker. That's a, it's ridiculous the way we live, you know. But that's what we're stuck with right now. Life is a ball game. What do we have here? The book of life. I'm reading the book of life here, and it tells me things that sex gets people killed, put in jail, beaten up, bankrupted, and disgraced. To say nothing of ruin personally, politically. Looking for sex can lead to misfortune, and if you get lucky and find it, it can leave you maimed, infected, or dead. Other than that, it's pretty swell. Yeah, I know. Sex is it's a bad thing because it rumples the clothing. That's why. Yeah. Is this a sex talk today? Yeah. No, I told you it was a shit show. It's did you ever imagine calling something that when you were in school and you had the nuns? You said, this school's a real shit show. You know how long you would last with that nun. That would be. I'm laughing because it's true. I mean, think about it. Put things out of frame. Put today's standard in yesterday's living, or yesterday's living in today's standard, and you'll find there's comedy tonight. That's where there's comedy. It comes from our behavior or misbehavior. It comes from our understanding or misunderstanding. It comes from our minds or no minds. I'm a no mind. It's very Italian. I don't have a lot to go on. It reminded me of the Port Authority in New York when they had somebody was robbing toilet seats out of the public toilets at the Port Authority in New York, which is a public transportation hub. Somebody taking toilet seats out of the men's and women's toilets, and they were robbing them, taking them, and the police were trying to solve it, but they didn't have a lot to go on. See, I took you down a bad trail. I told you it was a shit show. It's the Joey Reynolds shit show. I can't get over it. The way we're using our language now. When I first began on radio, we had to be announcers. We had to speak with mellifluous, dulcet tones. There was the announcer's guide from NBC or from WOR Radio, which was a big-time mutual network station. They created the Metropolitan Opera, and you had to say Rimsky-Korsakov. You had to be able to say things that were very elegant, and they made sense. And they were higher case, uppercase, intelligent. You wore a tie to go to the bathroom. I mean, it was a different kind of a world, and we had to learn how to talk like this, Now it's time for, we did that. So then I got on the air in Buffalo, and that was the end of it. We killed it. It was my shit show that did it. It's a Reynolds rap. Merry Christmas to all those. Laurel and Hardy.